So what do we mean by behavioral change? If you look at the waste, the way government looks at waste is they have to just make sure that they collect, clean it, and throw it in some landfill. That is the way they look at it. There is a need of a behavioral change that this cannot be put in landfill or ocean or this thing. This need to be brought into a circular economy. This need to be processed. This need to be collected well, because nothing is called waste. This is a resource for somebody else. But the way the overall government ecosystem was looking at it as a purely a waste. So that perception about it has to be changed. The waste should be looked at resource. There was a need of a change in the existing ecosystem that rat picker there are 4-5 people in that value chain. They were looking at it as a more informal way of doing business, collection, no GST payments, selling it cash, very, very dirty way of handling the waste. So there was a need of a behavioral change that required in that stakeholders to really make it more a formal ecosystem there. And then as a consumer, as a waste generator, we all are waste generators. And if you look at our behavior, I will just give you an example and which will explain you the scenario. At our home, we have multiple kind of waste we generate, but I will take example of 3 different kind of waste. If you look at paper, newspaper, none of us reads newspaper and throws it in a dustbin, right? We all read it and make sure that it is kept in some box somewhere. And at the end of the month, it is sold for 9 rupees per kg or 8 rupees per kg. For years, it is happening. None of us throws in dustbin because we have been trained in the mind that the paper is valuable, right? If you look at plastic, which is actually more valuable than paper, but we consume cold drinks and we just make sure that we either litter it on the road or we keep it in a dustbin, we throw it in a dustbin, because that has been the way we are trained. And the third thing, if you look at e-waste, that many of you must be having your mobile which you bought 15-20 years back still at somewhere in some drawer, or you will have something kept somewhere, right? Because we still feel that perceived value of the original product was 30,000 rupees, 50,000 rupees. And the kaam aayega, this one word impacts our behavior. So these are the 3, if you look at our behavior, and to change that behavior need a different kind of incentive, needs a different kind of behavioral change to bring that behavioral change. And what we learned also, what I personally learned in my 25 years of entrepreneurship is that there are only 2 things which can bring a large-scale behavioral change. One is a fear, or second one is a greed. These are the only 2 things. And fear, I think, is beyond us. Only our prime minister can do it at 8 p.m. in the night and say that if from tomorrow, if you throw a water bottle on the road, you will be in jail for 20 years. That fear might be created, but that is beyond us. But the greed is something which, if it is incentivized, if this is really done well, there can be a large-scale behavioral change. So we actually started building those platforms, connected all the stakeholders on one platform where we have rat pickers working with us, we have collectors working with us, we have government working with us, we have large corporates working with 600 plus companies we work with, all that. And what has happened at the same time when we started working on it, all this ESG, sustainability, circular economy became a mainstream thing. It was not there at all before when we started, because at that time nobody was talking about it. Circular economy was not even the word in discussion also. But come pandemic, post-pandemic, the things have changed. People have realized that the resources are very valuable. Mother Earth has limited resources. If we don't use it properly, next generation will not have resources. And that understanding, that voluntary thing started coming into the corporates, in the consumer started thinking about sustainable products, although the percentage is very small. So we actually got into that system and started bringing various solutions, technology platforms to really bring that behavioral change. And today I can say that we are a 450 people team based out of Hyderabad. We have raised around $45 million till date from the investors like Morgan Stanley. Mr. Ranjan Pai was the latest addition in our cap table. Mr. Ajay Parekh from Pidilite, and then Mr. Velen from Murugappa family. All these are the reputed families who participated in the various rounds earlier. And then we have Morgan Stanley. And we're almost doing $100 million top line, and a very solid team spread across India